Sand was stuck to the bottom of my thighs, under my fingernails, between my toes, and the back of my neck was sunburned from when I fell asleep on the beach today. When Lee turned to me, I frowned and looked away. Our car, a blue Ford Thunderbird that Lee had named the Travel Lodge and that Sarah's mom let us borrow for the week, was filled with empty Miller Lite and Tab cans, Egg McMuffin wrappers, suitcases, wet towels, backpacks, bathing suits, sleeping bags, pillows, a giant gallon tub of extra crunchy peanut butter, and a large box of 250 Fig Newtons that we'd taken from our sorority house commissary before we left. "Maybe we should have stayed in North Carolina," Sarah sighed, "even if it was too cold and that condo smelled like cat urine and old people." "It's not my fault that my aunt's place smelled so bad," Ducky said. Sarah sighed again. "No one's blaming you." "But we couldn't stay there," Ducky said. "It was going to rain for the rest of the week. I need a tan. We gotta have tans for the end of our senior year." I couldn't have cared less about tans. I turned off the interior light and stepped on the gas, throwing Ducky and Sarah, gasping, back into their seats. Lee gripped the dashboard with both hands. Water from the puddles slapped the passenger side window as I turned the corner and kept going. Lee made a circle on the foggy windshield. Then she leaned over and made a circle for me too, and now I could see a bit better. She said, "You should turn here." I didn't want to turn. I didn't want her to be right. I was still angry about what had happened at the bar, and I wanted her to feel this. She and I had sat in the stairwell of our house too many nights to number, talking about our families. She knew I didn't like people knowing who my mother was. Yet today she introduced me to the Sigma Chi's as the famous Clare Michaels' daughter. We came to a dead end. Ducky and Sarah groaned. "Oh my God, Claire, you're the worst driver," Ducky said. "Shut the fuck up," Lee yelled. "She's doing the best she can." Ducky sunk back in her seat. Lee frowned and flipped on the light again. As she tucked her long black hair behind her ears and studied the map, I felt something flip in my stomach. I knew why she did what she did today. Despite sticking up for me just now, she was angry too, because I'd pulled away these last couple of months. But it was our senior year. I didn't want to be so intense. I didn't want to talk endlessly. I was the only person she'd ever confided in about how upset she was with her aunt's arrest, or what might happen if she didn't get the film internship in New York. And I especially didn't want to keep talking about our friendship. I rubbed my temples again. For years, Lee had been the kind of friend I'd never had. Trustworthy, earnest, interesting. And not at all like many of my junior high and high school friends who sucked up to me because of my mother. Where were they all now? I didn't know. I'd flitted from group to group in high school, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so that it was easy to just fall away once I left for college. I glanced at Lee. Not since junior high had I had a best friend. Lee and I had been nearly inseparable these last 4 years, but I knew she didn't have the thoughts I'd had lately, that sometimes I didn't want to be around her, that I didn't want to share an apartment with her after we graduated, as we'd loosely planned. Cool sweat broke out across my upper lip. "I'm so sick of this car," Sarah said. "I'm so sick of it too," Ducky echoed. "I think we should go back the way we came." Lee reached up and switched off the light. I nodded, defeated, and turned the car around. As we approached the intersection where a few minutes ago Lee had told me to turn, I sped up and whipped the car around the corner. 1 block up, we saw the sign. 86th Street. I turned and slowed until we pulled up to number 27. Finally. "Yes, we're here. Thank God, because we're out of beer. Oh, that rhymed." Ducky laughed, cleaned a small space on her window with her fingers, and looked out. "It's kind of small, though. What do you think, Claire? Lee?" Lee stared at the house. "Something doesn't feel quite right." "You aren't going to talk about that bullshit karma crap again, are you?" Sarah asked. "You did it, Claire. You got us here. That's what matters." Lee nodded and said, "Good job, Captain." I cringed. I hadn't done a damn thing. She'd gotten us here. Anger boiled up to my cheeks. Stop trying to placate me. "Maybe this isn't even it," Ducky hiccuped. "Are you sure this is it?" We stared at the house. "That's what Donnie told me," Sarah said. "Come on, let's go." No one moved.